Hello and welcome to this Baskerville Drummond vlog. We're back in the Zoom room to talk to the latest addition to the consulting team, Cathy Kirby. Hi, Cathy.
Hi there, Sarah. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Are you ready for your grilling?
I think so. Not sure.
Okay, let's get started then. So, your career in a nutshell is pretty much sort of 3 decades in practice, climbing the ranks rapidly, with your last 10 years spent in the head IT role at Coffin Mew. You've now made the leap into consulting, but just before we get into that, let's ask you a sort of classic interview question to ease you in gently. So,
God.
sitting here today, what would you tell your 20-year-old self if you met her now?
Wow. I think probably if I had that opportunity, I don't think I'd take it actually. I would be too concerned that something I would say to my 20-year-old self would change the outcome. I I'm perfectly happy with where I am at the moment, and I look back on my career and think, not too bad. I've done the things that I wanted to done in practice. I'm now, working as a consultant, which is a nice change to what I was doing before, and very exciting new direction. So I don't think I'd change any of that. I've got a great family life, done lots of fun things along the way. So probably wouldn't want to risk changing that.
Fair enough then. So to the matters in hand, the big question: why come across to the dark side of consulting?
Well, yeah, I've thought long and hard about this because it was a bit of a random change of direction, actually, in the middle of a very difficult time. So obviously last year, with COVID going on, I was exceptionally busy. I had a big project going on with a migration of a practice management system and all of the stuff around COVID. So it was a bit of a year of reevaluation for me, for the whole world, I guess, in many ways. I also celebrated one of my bigger birthdays in lockdown, which again, won't tell you which one, but
Oh,
again makes me,
30, obviously.
of course, if not younger. So I think, it was kind of a random decision to hand my notice in at a point like that. But I had thought through the impact of COVID and the way that people were operating, the way that people were driving their business forward with a more remote workforce. And I felt that there was a good opportunity for me to get out there and do things in a different way. I did consider whether I wanted to stay in law, whether I wanted to go and do IT elsewhere, whether I needed to just move to another firm and do things slightly differently with a different firm. But actually, consultancy did occur to me. At first, I probably didn't have the guts to make that decision on my own to go out there and do it as an individual, mainly because I'm quite a social person, I think, and I like to have a team of people around me. I like to consult. I like to feel that I've got some support and some learning to do myself from the people I work with. So I was fortunate, shortly after I gave my notice in, I was fortunate enough to be introduced to David Baskerville by a colleague, met with him, and then met with the rest of the consulting team. And not only did I sort of think to myself straight away, this is it, this is really what I want to do, and these are the people that I want to work with. But when I met them all, it was just such a nice moment to meet with a group of incredibly intelligent but incredibly down-to-earth, funny, unpretentious guys who I know that if I was still in practice, they're the type of people that I would want to work with. So it gave me a lot of confidence that I could work with them, and that we would all get on well as a team. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, we're delighted to have you on board. Now, as you know, you've touched on the team there. They've all got their various specialisms and professional passions which they bring to the job. What are you looking to sort of add into that mix?
Yeah, so I think, looking across all of us, we're all ex-IT directors, so everybody's got to have that broad understanding of everything that happens within a law firm and how to drive IT transformation through law firms. So it's very difficult to look at myself and say I sort of in any way stand out from the others, because we've all got that broad skill set. I suppose, in a way, just being out of practice, just having come out of practice after 30 years, gives me a little bit of a fresh approach. Maybe we'll do different things in different ways. It's all still very fresh to me, what it's like to be in a law firm. So I have that perspective to give. I've also got a bit of a passion for how to adopt change within a law firm. So getting into the culture, getting into individual drivers for the individuals that you work with, working on soft skills with people. I've been doing a bit of mentoring, that sort of stuff. And I really enjoy that. And I also think that when you're putting together a project and you're driving through the communication plan and the adoption of that change, then knowing that firm, getting embedded in the culture is incredibly important and part of the success. So I guess that's a bit of a passion for me.
Excellent. Now, it's probably a bit unfair as it's very early days, but what are your first impressions about the sort of your new consulting gig?
Oh, I absolutely love it. I really do. I wouldn't change the decision at all. I was prepared to, give it a few months and then think to myself, is this really for me? Because I thought it was going to be so dramatically different for me in the way that I operate that I might have to make that very sort of quick decision halfway through. But no, I'm thoroughly enjoying it, thoroughly enjoy working with the guys. I mean, I think it is very different in that, it is incredibly busy. I've always been the sort of person who works long hours and don't have a problem with doing that, and I'm still doing it in the same way. But you're obviously doing, and not just working with multiple firms, which is unusual for me. I'm used to that one firm that I've been with for a fairly long time. But you're also then doing things like BD and time recording, the stuff that the lawyers have to do that you don't really think about as an IT director. So it's sort of spinning a lot of plates, doing a lot of different things in a lot of different ways for a lot of different clients. And I guess from my perspective, one of my worst things is I'm terrible with names. So that is going to be a problem, a challenge for me all in itself.
You've been warned, viewers. Right.
Yeah, you could be called anything.
Now, Cathy, because you're obviously now out of practice, so you don't have to worry about coming off the back of what has been a seismic event for the world, let alone the sort of domestic legal sector, and planning for the months and years ahead. But for those IT leaders who are still there and who are shaping their short, mid, and long term strategies, what would your advice be?
Yeah, I would say that if IT leaders haven't done this yet, and I'm sure that many of them will do, it's a good time to take stock, to look back on the previous year, look at what you were doing and whether it worked, whether it didn't work, look at the processes that you've been running traditionally. I mean, we've all had to review how we change our firms to go into a remote working methodology, but I think it's made us aware that half of the processes that we've probably done traditionally aren't really necessary, or they aren't efficient, and we could change the business in some quite different ways. So I think everybody's kind of having a look at that now. And there are some processes that you'll just drop altogether because they've just formed part of the makeup of the business, and they aren't really necessary. As I said, it's been a year of reevaluation, so I think it's great to capitalise on that. And make some positive changes across the business, and particularly as it's going to be a less certain future. I think there'll be some fundamental changes that come out of the whole COVID experience in the way that we deliver legal services. And then we've got, of course, the economic impact of that and political changes ahead of us, including Brexit. So there's going to be a lot of reevaluation that continues from this point forward. I think my key advice would be to make sure that you have a good platform, that it's well provisioned, and that you can make use of some of the new tools coming through. Because obviously there's a big move into cloud and into AI and various other areas that we can now make use of. It used to be a bit pie in the sky, but I think everything has been consolidated into a much more sort of reasonable approach to new methods of working. And so I would say that if you can provision your platforms so you can make use of those and consume them when you need them and then drop them when you don't, then it is going to turn much more into that sort of consumer-based approach to technology in law firms. So it'd be good to have that in place and ready to make use of it.
One last one for you, which everyone wants to know. How is the bonsai tree coming along?
Oh yeah, very well, thank you. As you can see, I have it behind me here. So
still alive. Excellent.
Yeah, still alive. Only just. given the I've just written an article on how it was to manage the life of that bonsai till now, because I'm not very good with plants.
All right.
I have a real tendency to kill them, but as you can see, I've also got a terrarium now, and that seems to be thriving as well. So yeah, hopefully it's all about working from home, isn't it? It just gives you that little bit extra in your day where you can do something a bit different. So yeah, plants have become, well, those 2 plants have become a thing for me. I mean, this room, for those who don't know this story, when I first started working from home, this room was a bright green toddler's bedroom. I mean, it was green. It was totally green. So it took me about 5 coats of white paint to turn this into the white room of contemplation and peacefulness that it is now. Although I have to say that at the outset, when I was doing those 5 coats, the only contemplation I did is where I was going to throw my roller brush. But no, it is a very peaceful place to work, and the bonsai helps, being able to, you know, prune that and look after it. And the dog and the cat come and sit with me and frequently sit on the keyboard or in front of the camera while I'm working. So I think, like everybody, it's just nice to have that time at home, that little bit extra in the day where you're not traveling, where you've got, you know, a bit more of a relationship with your home life.
Excellent. Thank you, Cathy. Well, welcome to the team. I'm turning off my inquisitorial spotlight now, and I'll let you get back to your work and your bonsai and your terrarium and your room of calm.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thanks for joining me.
Cheers, then. Speak to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.